Good afternoon and welcome to Your Future Impact, the employability show where we talk all things jobs, interviews and how to kickstart your career. I'm Helen Rivero, Career Development Specialist and founder at Your Future Impact. And joining us today we have Corey Adcook, a Superyacht captain. Corey, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
So first of all, we're going to jump straight in with how did you, or can you share a bit about your career journey as a Superyacht captain?
Yeah, well, it wasn't planned. Didn't start out that I wanted to do that when I left school. I worked in the water sports industry and then through one thing or another was helping out on a boat. Then fast forward 20 years, a lot of hard work, qualifications, time away at sea, and I'm a captain.
Okay, so you mentioned that it wasn't something that you set out to do. Often I think for me I didn't know much about the superyacht industry until somebody mentioned it. So for those young people that are watching today, what is the best way for them to get started? How would they find out about it?
Yeah, it's not a simple access industry. Through colleges and schools, it's not obvious to people that it's there. But thankfully, the UK has actually some great entry points. There's Warsash Maritime College, which is part of Southampton University, and the UKSA in the Isle of Wight. They are really good training centres and can help people with the career path and could be a really good first point of contact to find out what's needed to get into it. But as a bare minimum, they've got to have safety training and a medical certificate. That's for everybody across the board, whatever your role might be or want to be on the boat, they've got to have that.
Okay, and they can go to those places and get those qualifications?
Yes,
and how long
absolutely.
does that take, usually?
The basic safety training is about a week, some are a little bit longer, and the medical certificate is done in an hour, probably.
Okay.
Then how they go and get the job, that's the hard bit, and I'm afraid that's a really long discussion that couldn't be done now. But it's not easy, but can be very rewarding.
Okay, that's fine. So again, sort of talking about, I talk a lot with young people about the types of skills and the attributes that employers are looking for. So with that in mind, what are you looking for when it comes to skills and the attributes that somebody needs for the industry?
Yeah, it's a real chicken and egg, because we're looking for people with experience, but if you've never worked on a boat before, how can I get that experience? For people that don't have experience, I think in any sector, not just ours, of course, aside of the technical requirements for maybe qualifications and things like that, is just proven work ethic, okay? Get a job at a corner shop, delivering newspapers, at Halfords, at McDonald's, whatever you can do in your spare time, at weekends, if college is what you're still at. Prove that you can hold down a job. Work's hard work, but prove to us that you can do it, and we'll be prepared to make that gamble with you in giving you an opportunity to then build experience in the sector.
Okay, so what are you looking for on a CV then? What timelines are you looking for part-time jobs, let's say?
Look, that's hard to, it's hard to answer because someone may have left college and it could only be 6 months, or they could have been out of college for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But I think it's someone's shown commitment and the hard work that is required to do that. Getting up early for work, that's the real world. It's a bit of a shock for younger people when they're migrating into the early years of work.
Yeah, and I think it's really important, and often that comes up a lot, just get some work experience. We talk about volunteering, part-time jobs, that
Absolutely.
type of thing. And like you say, you're looking at that on a CV when it comes to recruiting a young person.
Yeah, it's commitment. Work is commitment. Show it.
Yeah. So talking a bit more about young people coming into the industry, there's a lot of misconceptions, so I hear, around what it's actually like working in the industry. So can we talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think people have a image of tropical backdrops and a very exuberant lifestyle. The reality is I work away from home a hell of a lot. The hours are long and they're repetitive. Day after day after day. We're in the hospitality sector, but we're a floating hotel. So we can't just step off and have a few days off. So we really need people that are a lot of resilience, I think. Maybe with that, some confidence in the workplace. You're working in a community of other people. So that, and just a positive mindset, because it can get it does get tough.
What does a typical day look like?
Yeah. Ultimately everything's got to be perfect and shiny, okay? So it's getting up early, especially if you're the junior crew, making that happen. and then finishing late with, you know, the guests wanting hospitality maybe till the early hours.
Yeah, okay, I know. Okay, so let's talk about sort of more tech and AI, because that comes up for young people all the time.
Yeah.
You know, how is that impacting the industry? So, in the day of a life as a super yacht captain, how is tech and AI affecting your day-to-day?
Yeah, sure. I think our industry lags behind what I would call the real world a little bit, and that's because compliance sign-off, equipment approval, it takes a long time to get there. But we've got two key areas: the technical aspects of things, the navigation systems for driving the boats versus maybe monitoring of equipment in the engine room. Okay, AI is coming into that sector. We will still require the human element to manage it, maintain it. So even if someone wasn't interested in actually working on a boat, there's a whole sector that will require that. And the south coast of the UK, in fact, the whole of the UK is still one of the industry leaders for technology in our sector. The other area is the back office side of things, as I call it. We as I say, we ultimately run a floating hotel. AI is coming in, whether it's dealing with our accounts, our admin, systems, and things that I don't even know about yet. You know, that's what AI is, I think, for a lot of people, is that we don't know what it's going to do, but we know it's going to do something. So it's definitely an area where I think you need to have that understanding. You don't need to be a tech, you know, guru, but I think just being aware and adapting to it is better.
Yeah.
The entry positions of our industry are not that much contact with tech day to day. You know, it's very labour intensive, but it doesn't take much through the job progress that suddenly you could be sat at a computer needing to know what's going on, or managing a system in the engine room or on the bridge.
So with that in mind then, are you looking, you know, if you think about interviewing a young person, are you thinking about actually they need to have digital skills, or is that something you're not necessarily thinking about?
It's not essential, but what I really like, and I've got it with a guy that we employed not that long ago, is he just got qualifications for whatever he could do. Get it on there. If someone says, you know, hey, I'm giving you a free training in nannying and babysitting services, do it, because you never know. Bizarrely, we're looking after the children of the owner a lot of the time. So if someone's got, you know, child minding experience, that could be a strong asset for us. But I definitely think if someone's got an AI or tech approach maybe, or just I can see it that it's on their radar, no pun intended, then that's really useful for us.
Okay.
It shows to me that they're adding to their offering.
Yeah.
You know, it's competition, life's a competition, getting a job's a competition.
Yeah.
Get some work experience and get whatever you can under your belt for qualifications or auxiliary courses.
Yeah, I think I totally agree. I think that continuous learning, adding whatever you can to your
Absolutely.
CV and showcasing it, absolutely. So what we're going to do, that's been really, really interesting and helpful for our viewers. We're going to move into a quick fire round. So what
Okay.
that is some random questions. We have 1 minute to go through them.
Okay.
And the first question is, what is the one skill every young person should build to succeed in your industry?
I think it would have to be resilience.
Resilience, okay. What is a personal quality that you notice when you are interviewing somebody?
Confidence.
Confidence, okay. If someone has zero experience in the industry, what is the one thing that they can do to stand out?
Build their work ethic and their experience. As I say, could be a paper round, could be a very part-time job that is just proving that they can work.
Okay, I like that one. Okay, if you weren't a super yacht captain, what career would you be in?
I'd love to have the calmness of being a carpenter
Okay.
or a tech mogul.
Okay. If your job were a movie, what would it be?
I think it's got to be the whole of the Mission Impossible franchise.
Okay. And what's the strangest request that you've ever had from a client?
Our industry is rife with it, and there's too many to mention, but I think black toilet paper.
Wow. Okay. We'll leave it there. Thank you, Corey, so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been a real pleasure to have you on Your Future Impact Employability Show. If you have any questions or you would like some more support with careers, interviews or any skills development, you can reach us on Facebook or Instagram. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great day, and we will see you next week. Thanks. Bye-bye.